يلا pal se lo cojo. Kod קיבלת עבור?
לא.
חסום לשמאל. פתח לימין.
גאה בכם.
By far one of the greatest scenes. Hello, I'm just waiting for other people to see other people come back. I don't know. It's only 2 people. Yeah, I know. I knew. I said it's gonna cause a copyright strike. I'm just waiting for other people to. I knew it was gonna cause. I didn't know. I wasn't for certain that it was going to cause a copyright strike, but that's why I don't really like playing music videos on screen. I think if you just play the audio, it's okay, but when you start playing music videos, that's when YouTube starts getting strict. Hello, Catherine. Not really seeing anybody coming here.
זהו. איבדתי...
How many people are even on here? I don't think even a lot of people are on. 4 people. Yeah, I can really only give the audio without the that's why I avoid usually showing video. This is a ploy by Theo to get multiple likes and boost visibility. There you go. Yeah, we got 4 people watching. I mean, it's just... How many of us... Hold on, what the hell? No, I am not live. Remove this damn thing. Man, we had 227 people watch the last video. Not bad. You know, I think that I always wonder about the importance of views, and I understand that this channel is not a big channel, and I know that I'm not a popular person. I'm not a very popular personality, but I usually don't really care. That's the thing. I really don't care too much about getting huge audiences. There's a pro and a con to being unfamous, right? To being unknown. But there's also a pro and a con that comes with being very known. If you're super known, then what ends up happening is, sure, you do get coverage, you get money, you get all those good things. And they're good. Those are good things. But it also comes with its own set of negatives, its own set of bads. And the bad things that come along with getting a lot of fame is you get a lot of weirdos, stalkers. You get people who want to try to destroy you. They want to try to destroy your character. All sorts of different things come about because you're famous. If you're a guy and you're famous, you're going to get a lot of women after you. This is just a fact. But then you wonder to yourself, are those women after you because you're famous? Or are they after you because they really like you? That's why I think a lot of famous men, they just go crazy, I think. I think a lot of famous men lose their minds because reality sets into their heads that a lot of the stuff is just fake. A lot of the stuff around them is just fake. A lot of the stuff that comes with fame, that comes with having a celebrity status, is fake. The thing is that when people really revere you because you're famous and all that stuff, it's actually, it sounds nice, or people are going to revere you and they're going to look up to you and all this crap. I don't think it's nice. I don't think it's nice. Now, if you're a musician and you're on a stage and you're making beautiful music and people are cheering, that's fine, right? Because when you're singing, you're expressing energy, and that energy is being reciprocated, and that's a different experience. But when people are just revering you with glossy eyes, that doesn't feel good. It feels weird. And the reason why it feels weird is because it's not true. People praise you and say you're this amazing person and you're a wonderful person, but you know deep inside that you're not really those things. You know deep inside that you're just another broken human being. And so it doesn't feel good. It feels off. It feels disjointed. I think it feels very disjointed. And so I think there is something nice about having a small but yet dedicated audience. It has its negatives. The negatives is that you're not that known and you're not really getting any money from doing videos. But at the same time, it's a dedicated following and it's consistent, and it's, this following gives you the same pattern of views. It's a consistent pattern of views. And it's nice. It's nice just to have that audience of 500 or so people. and they're going to come, they're going to watch your videos, they're going to like them, and that's it. And when you know that you're obscure, and when you know that you're not famous, and that you're probably never going to be famous, then that puts you in this position where you ask yourself, okay, am I going to do videos because I want to do videos, or am I going to do videos because I want to get views? And you do want views, right? Because if you don't have views, then what's the point of doing the work? The point of doing the work is to show people your thoughts. But at the same time, if it's all about views and it's not about enjoying the practice, then what ends up happening is that will, just for views and just for fame, it clouds your vision and it really stalls your creativity. So you really have to enjoy what you're doing. And if you enjoy doing videos, the views are going to come. That's just the bottom line. You're going to get a following. Be it small or be it big, you're going to get a following because people recognize your consistency and your creativity. And plus, they're going to agree with whatever it is that you're saying. They're going to see eye to eye with you, because that's one of the reasons why people follow channels, is because they see eye to eye. That's the thing. You know, they see eye to eye. That's the whole thing. Make shorts. The thing about shorts is that, here's the thing, guys, is I don't have a team of editors. I don't have a team. I don't have a staff. I don't have any of that stuff. If I'm going to be doing videos, streaming, and shorts, that is a full-time job. That's all day. It's like, get up. All right, got to do the short. Got to do the video. Got to prepare for the video. Got to prepare for the stream. Record the video. Record the stream. Then take excerpts from the stream, which I already do. Edit those excerpts. Upload those excerpts. And then you have to do and then don't forget, I also do pre-recorded videos. And those pre-recorded videos take a lot of time. Preparing, recording, editing, uploading, posting. It's a whole 5-part process, and it takes hours to do all these things. And then on top of that, okay, let's do shorts now. Oh my God, let's do the shorts. Let's sift through an entire videos looking for 30-second clips. Let's do the 30-second clips, guys. Oh my gosh, dude. I don't want to do that. That's too much work. I much prefer to do... I have my ideas. I have my observations on life, and I just want to do videos on them. That's it. I like to do videos on my ideas. That's it. I don't think they make good money, but it can give the publicity he deserves. He has so much good takes. He's better than those weird liberal Twitch streamers. Well, I really appreciate that Saintology. I really do. I really do try. But it's every day. As soon as I wake up, I mean, I feed the chickens. I do some garden work. I come inside, and it's just the channel, the reading, the writing. It's just like hours every day. Hours every day. It's a lot of work, you know. I think I should start doing super chats. I don't know. How would I be? Am I even eligible to do them? I think I am, because I have over 1,000 subs. How to do super chats? How do I do super chats? Tap the $sign on the live chat. Okay, hold on. Is this even possible? How do I start super chats? Pop out chat, participants. And I think I should set that up. I think I should set up a super chats thing on my channel. Maybe I can get like $10 every Friday or something. I don't know. Could pay for some McDonald's. Nice music in the background. Glad you guys like it. So let's go back to the presentation before somebody asked me to play some ghetto Polish music. Guys, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to be playing music videos in the middle of lectures. You got to wait for the music time. Bottom line, I made that mistake. Because it's so... The thing is that I could play songs, but only on low volume. I can't be playing music videos. I don't know. I don't know why, because people do reaction content all the time, so I was not expecting that. Yeah, you are. I think you need like 500 subs. I know Mark Lamont Hill, he does super chats every time he live streams on YouTube, and people give him $10, $15, whatever. You know, it'd be nice to make a little bit of side money, but I don't have to. That's the thing. I don't have to do super chats. And I've been streaming for how long? I've been streaming for 3 years now, going almost 4. And here we are, you know, and I've never done super chats, but I probably should do super chats. Streaming, the thing about streaming is that streaming is almost like a meditative process, because when you first hit the button to go live, your brain it's kind of like waking up. You know, you wake up from bed and your brain, you don't feel like doing nothing. You don't feel like doing any work, nothing. But then, you know, you take a shower, you get ready, you do all this stuff, and then there comes a point where you physically have the willpower to do whatever it is you have to do. And that's what streaming feels like. You wake up, you don't want to do shit, you start the stream, you don't want to do shit, but then you just keep talking, and your brain, something happens. The brain goes rolling, the little hamster wheel in your head starts rolling, and bam, 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 bam. It really is quite amazing. You know, and I think to myself, I was thinking about this. I went to a cafe a few days ago, and I was just sitting with my thoughts, which is something that I do every day. I just sit with my thoughts all the time. And I thought to myself, all of the topics that I've covered in my life, I've covered so many different topics in my life. I've covered, we can talk about Islamic problems, terrorism, talked a lot about Islam, Mormonism. I've talked a lot about Scientology, different cults, different stuff. You know, I started writing when I was in high school. I wrote about cults and all that stuff. And over 10 years ago, I got into talking about Japan, Japanese nationalism, and the dangers of Japan, the rising of Japan, the revival of Japanese power. And I talked about this over 10 years ago, and everybody was laughing at me. Now they ain't laughing anymore. I tell you that right now. They're not laughing anymore. And now you see people on the news talking about the rise of Japan and the revival of Japanese power and Japanese militarism and Japanese nationalism. It's very fascinating to see just history unravel itself. I mean, the thing is that we are in history, everyone. We are in history. That's the thing. We are literally living in history. And so when you read a history book, see, here's the thing is I've read different history books for years. And one thing that I've noticed about history is that you read a history book and it's always the craziest stuff happening, right? The craziest stuff happening in 1911, 1912. You read about what was happening in China before the Japanese invaded China, and how you had the nationalists on one side and the communists on the other side, and Chiang Kai-shek, whatever his name was, and how the nationalists were butchers. I mean, they did massacres. They did horrendous. You can read about it. It's not just the commies that were doing killing. The Chinese nationalists were butchering peasants and doing all sorts of crazy things. And the communists were fighting them, and they were fighting and killing each other. But you read about this later, that's crazy. That is insane. But the thing is that is life. Life is insane. Life is completely insane. It is. It's completely, absolutely insane. There was a French philosopher, I forgot his name. Oh my gosh, I gotta look it up real quick. He was a French existential philosopher, and he talked about this. I should read the book that he in which he talked about this subject. What was his name? It wasn't Sartre. Yeah, but specifically, it was Albert Camus. Pretty certain it was Albert Camus. Was it Albert Camus? pretty certain it was Albert Camus who wrote. Yeah, it was Albert Camus. He wrote a book. He wrote about existentialism. And I've never read a single book written by Albert Camus, but I read about Albert Camus. And one thing that Albert Camus stressed, one of the things that Albert Camus stressed was that life is only crazy to the irrational. And you think, well, what are you talking about? Life is crazy. And he said that it is irrational to see life as crazy and as surreal. Well, why is that? He said, because what we consider the craziness of life is actually normal. And so we as rational people should just accept the insanity of life as normal. Because if we consider life crazy, then we're not seeing reality for what it is. We should see the craziness of life as normal. And I thought about that, and I thought, that's insane. Right? We shouldn't accept it as just the way, I mean, it's hard to say this. We should not accept things that are evil and that are murderous as just the way things are. I refuse to accept this. I think that's evil into itself. Like, that is the way that we should accept things for what that is, that we should just accept the evils of life for what they are. Norman Finkelstein, you know, the more I was really bashing Norman Finkelstein a while back ago. And Norman Finkelstein, the more I look at his work and the more I watch his videos, the more I see him as a philosopher. Norman Finkelstein is not just an historian. I mean, when I say historian, I mean an historian in the sense that he's documenting things that are happening. Right? I mean, Herodotus is an historian, but Herodotus also documented things that were happening around his time. What's his name? Thucydides was an historian, but he talked about things that happened at his time, right? The Spartan Athenian War was something that happened at his time. Josephus was an historian, but he wrote about things that happened also in his time. So just because you're writing about things that are happening in your time period does not mean you're not a historian. You are documenting world events. But the thing about history books from ancient times, the way that they differ between history books, the way that they differ from history books that are written now is that history books that are written in ancient times, they were documenting things that were happening around the time of the author. So the author was documenting things that were happening around his time. And they were historians. And not only that, you see, the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, the Greco-Roman world, they did not see history books as just records. Peloponnesian War, yeah. They did not see history books as just books of records. Like, these are just records that documented events. And no, that's not how they saw things. They saw things as they saw historical records as things that conveyed wisdom. They conveyed wisdom. That you read history books not just for the sake of reading history, but for the sake of gaining wisdom. The sake of gaining wisdom. And for the sake of looking at what is happening around you and saying, we've been through this. We have seen this before, and then we can understand where we are going. That is the purpose of history. And there was one Greek writer, who was it? Was it Thucydides? I don't remember. But there was a Greek writer who said that the most important subject to study is history. More important than mathematics, more important than science. The most important subject to study is the study of history. This is what he said. That is the most important subject to study. More important than science, more important than art, is the study of history. Because you gain knowledge. And by understanding history, you understand the mistakes of your people. The mistakes of the past, the mistakes of humanity. You see, we're always told to learn from our mistakes. We're always told to say, okay, we're always told to say to ourselves, okay, I've made the same mistake before. I need to stop, right? We're always told, oh, you have to learn from your mistakes. Why can't countries be told the same thing? Why can't countries be told, learn from your mistakes? If it's important for individuals to learn from their individual past mistakes, then countries must also learn from their collective past mistakes. And that is why it is so destructive to say things like, get over it. It's in the past. Who cares? The people who are saying that are the people who will push a country to repeat its past evils. And we see this happening all over the place. Oh, we see it happening in Japan. Who cares about Nanking? It didn't happen. We see this happening in Germany. Okay, the Holocaust. Who cares about that? And what does this mean? When you see people just tearing down history, what that means is they're going to repeat it again. And that is the bottom line, everyone. And what's interesting is, Norman Finkelstein, I'm reading his book here, Gaza, an Inquest into Its Martyrdom. Norman Finkelstein is an historian, and he believes in the philosophy of history. And the more I look at his work, his writings, and his videos, his lectures, his debates, the more I see him not really as just a guy who documents things in the past, but I see him more as a philosopher, a true historian in the classical sense. The classical way of looking at history was that it was a philosophy unto itself. Philosophy is what? Philosophy is the study of wisdom. That's what philosophy is. Philo, right? Study of wisdom. History is a philosophy. History is not just saying in 1914, some guy shot some guy and a war started. That's not. If that's all you want to focus on, then don't write history. The problem is that the whole industry of writing history, the whole industry of history, is that it's dominated by people who think just like that. And that's why there's a comment here on the chat. Compton says, while in high school, I hated history and I thought it was useless. Now I'm like, damn, history is very important. And the reason why people didn't care about history in their youth is because it was not taught in a way, it was not taught in the way that it was supposed to be taught. The way that history is supposed to be taught is that it is a form of wisdom. It is a way to convey wisdom to people. It's not just, this thing happened and 19 whatever, and Germany entered Belgium, and no. You see, if I was a history teacher in a high school, the last thing I would be doing is saying, okay, guys, let's talk about something that happened in the past. No, I'll be saying, here's what happened in the past, and let's find parallels to what's happening now. Let's find parallels between what happened in the past and what's happening now. And Norman Finkelstein talks about this. He says, not in the book, but he said this in a video. He said that, I was listening to an interview of his, and he said something to the likes of, if you're going to teach history as just a way to state facts about the past, just details about the past, this happened, here's the date in which it happened, blah, blah, blah. He said, then history is pointless. Don't teach history. It's garbage. He said, the only reason that you teach history is to find parallels with what is happening now so that we do not repeat the same perdition, that we do not walk on the same road to perdition as our ancestors did. If you are not going to teach history for this purpose, then there is no point in teaching history, and that's why people see it as pointless. They see it as pointless because there is no point in just talking about the past for the sake of talking about the past. That's it. And so Finkelstein says that when he was younger, and he was in, I believe, high school, they would say, okay, compare the French Revolution to the Russian Revolution. What are the similarities? And this was an exercise. He says that this was an exercise that they would make you do as a student to get you to think about the parallels between two historical events so that you can see parallels with modern day events, present day events. You see how it works? That's the thing. That's the thing they have to keep in mind. that is the point of history, everyone. That is literally the point of history. And so the more I look at Finkelstein's work, the more I see him as a philosopher. You know, he's a philosopher. I think he sincerely is a good person. I do. I don't think he's an evil person. I think he is sincerely a decent person. He has said things that I disagree with, but I think he really does mean well. And when you read his books, there's a lot of sincerity in the work. And I can always tell when someone is writing something for the heck of it and writing something because they really believe in it. I can always tell the difference between the two. But the funny thing about Norman Finkelstein is that he's had points in the past where he's has been famous, has been known, but then he just kind of went into obscurity, talking in small venues, doing random interviews with people on YouTube. He wasn't getting really huge views. And there is this great interview. He's done a number of debates. He debated Destiny recently, months ago. He debated some settler guy. I forgot his name. Ishai is his first name. I forgot his last name. He debated Dershowitz twice. He debated Dershowitz a number of months ago, but he also debated Dershowitz many years ago. He debated a number of people. He debated Benny Morris twice. One a number of months ago, and then he debated Morris many years ago, actually. But his best debate is the one that he did with Ken Spiro. Ken Spiro is a guy, I think he lives in a settlement somewhere, and Finkelstein debated Ken Spiro. It's a great debate. Go look it up. Ken Spiro versus Finkelstein. It's a great book, a great debate. Because the topic of the debate was, is Israel held to a double standard? And Finkelstein's point was that it's not held to any standard, because Israel doesn't really change. It just continues to do the same things, and it continues to conduct war in the way that it has in the past, and which is to target indiscriminately. And so Finkelstein was bringing up this point, and Ken Spiro said, that's not true. This is not the topic of the debate. It is the topic of the debate. The topic of the debate is Israel held to a double standard? Ken Spiro says, yes, Israel's held to a double standard. And Finkelstein's whole point was, that's only true if Israel is doing the right thing and then being accused of not doing the right thing. But according to Finkelstein, Israel is doing the wrong thing. So it's not really held to a double standard. It's not held to any standard. Because if it's held to a double standard, that means that Israel is doing something wrong, or that Israel is doing something right, but it's accused of doing something wrong. And Finkelstein's point was, no, Israel is doing wrong, and the accusations against Israel are true. It's not held to a double standard. It's just that the accusations, the claims made against Israel, are accurate. And Ken Spiro kept being very dismissive, which is something that Hosperists are very wont of doing. They have the habit of doing this. And Finkelstein just wasn't having it. He had enough of it, and he just screamed at this guy. And I loved it when he said, people are dead, children are dead, and you sit here with your red tie and your crossed legs. It was just so funny, but you could feel his indignation. It was very real. And so it really went to show that he's not just a writer, but he's a philosopher, and he's someone who truly has indignation, sincere indignation that comes from his heart. Broken Helix, a little off topic, but I enjoyed your video about Andrew Tate. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Broken Helix. But Finkelstein kind of went into obscurity, and then he crawled out of his obscurity to talk about what's been going on now. And the one thing I appreciate about Finkelstein is that he doesn't care about fame. He doesn't. He does not care about fame at all. You can tell. He just comes, he talks, doesn't try to be exciting. He is what he is. He just shows his personality. And yeah, he's a fascinating character. But I think he has the right perspective when it comes to history. And that is that history must be seen as a way by which to teach wisdom. And if Josephus is a teacher from the past, then Israel is on its way to repeating the evils that it did in antiquity after the crucifixion of Christ. And that is that Israel destroyed itself. And I think Israel eventually will destroy itself. With that said, I want to resume from where I left off here. So let's get right back into it. Here we go with our... I'm going to pull up my notes. Don't ask me to play Polish ghetto music. And next time I do a stream, I'm going to begin the stream by saying, do not ask me to play music during a lecture. I know I was being a little bit too nice with you guys, but I'm just not going to do that anymore. There's a time for music, and that is not in the beginning or in the middle of the stream. Beginning and middle of the stream is for me just to jabber with you guys and to express my thoughts on whatever issues that I want to talk about, be it Israel, be it Japan, be it Europe, be it whatever. I can talk about whatever the hell I want because this is my damn channel, guys. All right. So let's go back to this. I'm going to start from the beginning because I just don't like the idea of starting from a point where I left off. It's just kind of confusing. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Here we go. Let's do this. So here is the report from the United Nations Commission. It is about war crimes done by Hamas and by Palestinian militants and also by Israel. So we're going to go on both sides here. We're not going to be biased for one side. We're not going to have double standards. We're just going to talk about the evils done by both sides. Okay? And then we can get into the repercussions of it all and all that stuff. So here we go. In Nir Oz, so this is a kibbutz that was attacked by the Palestinians. In Nir Oz, 46 civilians were killed, 33 men and 13 women by members of the military wings of Hamas and the PIG. PIG is Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, the armed wing of the Palestinian Mujahideen movement, and the armed wing of the Popular Resistance Committees. Palestinian civilians also participated in these killings. 72 residents of the kibbutz, 37 men and 35 women, were abducted to Gaza. In one case, and this is the most messed up story that I read in this report in regards to October the 7th. Let me just make sure my internet connection is working. Yeah, internet connection is working fine. Awesome. Here we go. I already have a trad Catholic telling me he doesn't understand what's wrong with the ultranationalism happening in Europe. Oh, well. So it says here, a 79-year-old woman and her 12-year-old autistic granddaughter from Nir Oz were killed close to the perimeter fence with Gaza, allegedly because they were slowing down the retreat of their captors. In another case, a 70-year-old woman... So let's go back to this story because this just breaks my heart. The whole thing just breaks my heart. 79-year-old grandmother with her 12-year-old autistic granddaughter taken by these thugs from Gaza and then then they wanted to bring them to Gaza alongside other hostages. And the Gazans said, this autistic girl and this old woman, they're slowing us down. They're slowing us down. What do we do, Muhammad? Just shoot them. So they killed this girl who's heavily autistic, and they murder her grandmother. I mean, it's sick. It's just sick. This is sick. This is what I mean by the craziness of the world, everybody. It's just the craziness, the sickness of the world. It's the craziness of the world. It's just the craziness of the world. The world is a sick place. It's a very sick place, and it feels very capricious. It feels extreme. Life in general feels very capricious. Even if you don't live next to Hamas, even if you live in Africa, even if you live in America, wherever you live, life is capricious. Life feels very unstable. You read the story, for example, of this woman who went to Walmart to go shopping, and some monster, not a human being, some monster stabs this little boy to death. They're walking out the Walmart, got their groceries ready, they're ready to go home. Bam! Boy is stabbed to death. It's just horrifying. It's just awful. Hard as hell to hear. Hear what? Is it not loud enough, or what? Is something wrong with the audio? Let me know if the audio is okay, because my sound system here is saying everything is fine. But this is the capriciousness of life. You just don't know. You don't know when death is gonna come to you. You don't know. And not just that, but let's say you're living a comfortable life, and you just read the news, and what are you reading about? You're reading about people being bombed, civilians being targeted, people getting hit with white phosphorus. You know what white phosphorus is? White phosphorus is 1,500 degrees of heat burning your flesh. That's white phosphorus. And you hear this, oh my God, you hear this being done in Gaza, and it's just, he meant the story. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know. Sorry about that. But you read about Gaza, and it's just awful. It's horrible. And you read about October the 7th, and you read about these things that have happened, and it's just, it's hard. It's hard just to say, oh my God, life is good. Life is good for you at this moment, but it's not good for other people. And that's what makes even living comfortably a burden. It's to understand that while you are comfortable, other people aren't. While you are comfortable, other people are living in hell. And that's what's so scary. It's horrifying. But let's go back to the notes here. Let's go back to this nightmare. So, in another case, a 70-year-old woman and her 73-year-old husband were attacked while out for a walk. So they're like, "Oh, guy, okay, honey, let's go out for a walk," and boom, the woman was killed while her partner was abducted to Gaza, where he died in captivity. It's just a nightmare. In one case in Be'eri, a 48-year-old woman and her 2 teenage daughters were killed, while the father was abducted to Gaza. In Nir Oz, a family of 5 was hiding in their safe room when militants broke into the room, shot and killed both parents, and set fire to their home, which resulted in the killing of their 3 children from smoke suffocation. The children's grandmother was shot dead in a different safe room in the kibbutz. In another case from Nir Oz, an entire family was abducted to Gaza, including both parents, a 4-year-old boy, and a 9-month-old baby. 2 of the children's grandparents were also killed in the attack, and their bodies were found near the Gaza border. This is what the Palestinians did. And the problem, here is the thing, it's like, I hate to say this. I really hate to say this, but if you talk to the majority of people in Gaza, they say that this is righteous. If you bring up October the 7th, they say, well, that's good. And I hate to bring this stuff up because I have to acknowledge it because it's the truth. But here's the thing is, when I bring up the travails of the Palestinian people, the other side always says, well, who cares, because the Palestinians agree with this stuff. You see what I'm saying? Can you guys hear me? Are we good? Are we having internet issues? Is the internet good, guys? It's like, we can never win. Internet's working fine. Are we good? Try restarting your device. Why is... Oh, we're good? Okay, hold on a second. For some reason... Okay, we're good. Okay, hold on. Low volume a little bit. All right. The volume is fine. I don't really see an issue with the volume. But for some reason, my internet started acting wacky as hell. Man, I hate when this happens. What's new on Chrome? All right, can you guys hear that? All right, we're good. Volume is good. All right. Everything is good. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Sorry, the internet was acting for some reason my YouTube was just acting retarded. I don't know why. Okay. So let's go back to the notes here. So yeah, here's the problem is every time I bring up the travails of the Palestinian people, what happens? The hospitalists come along and they say, yeah, but 72% or 70+% of the Palestinian people say that they agree with October the 7th. And I have to say, you're right. That's true. And it makes it difficult to bring awareness to the suffering of the Palestinians. But at the same time, I think, from my understanding, the reality is that a lot of Palestinians are just brainwashed people. My father was brainwashed. My father thought that killing Jews was okay. But then he woke up. So just because Palestinians say that, oh, that's the right thing to do, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily hopeless, and it doesn't necessarily mean that those people can't find God or see the light or be reconciled or be rehabilitated. They definitely can be. But the problem is that the society in Gaza needs to change dramatically for there to be serious change, I think. But the problem also is that the Israelis portray the Palestinians as being animals, as being vicious, zombies, not even human, and they treat them as if they're not even human. That's the problem. That's another problem, I should say. And as long as Israelis see Palestinians as not being human, then the situation is not going to stop either. Because the Palestinians in the West Bank can they can have no guns, and they don't really have guns in the West Bank, but they can have no guns, and settlers will still attack them. Settlers will still burn their homes, all these things. So it's a type of situation where if I bring up a fact, someone else on the other side is going to say, what about this fact? And you have to acknowledge all the facts, but at the same time, you have to see the humanity in both sides, and you have to see and recognize the injustices done by both sides. Going on from here, it says the commission, and by the way, this is an investigation done by a UN fact-finding mission. The commission investigated the killing of civilians in 4 public shelters near Re'im, Be'eri, and Alumim. In all 4 locations, militants attacked the shelters using grenades and machine gun fire, shooting at any person attempting to escape. So any person, a person trying to escape, the Palestinians opened fire on them. They didn't care if they were military or civilian. It didn't matter. Palestinians fired on them. And think about this. If the Israelis were doing something like this, then the pro-Palestine people would be saying, wow, look how barbaric the Israelis are. But in this case, it's not Israelis doing it. This was done by Palestinians. Do you see what I'm saying? This was done by Palestinians. And so we have to acknowledge when Israelis are trigger happy, but also we have to acknowledge when Palestinians are trigger happy, or else everybody in this fight, in this debate, is just going to be biased, is just going to have a double standard. And as long as you have this debate where everyone's having a double standard, no one can see both sides of the issue, then it's just going to be 2 dogs barking, and there's no sense of the thing being settled. There's no sense of clarity. The commission found evidence of mistreatment of civilians and Israeli security forces members in several locations, and significant evidence on the desecration of corpses, including sexualized desecration, decapitations, lacerations, burning, severing of body parts, and undressing. It collected and preserved digital evidence, including images of victims' bodies displaying indications of sexual violence, a pattern corroborated by independent testimonies from witnesses. Reliable witness accounts obtained by the commission described bodies that had been undressed, in some incidents with exposed genitals. The commission received reports and verified digital evidence concerning the restraining of women, including hands and sometimes feet of women being bound, often behind the victims' backs, prior to their abduction or killing. Additionally, the commission made assessments based on the position of the body. For example, images displaying legs spread or bent over, and signs of struggle or violence on the body, such as stab wounds, burns, lacerations, and abrasions. The commission has reviewed testimonies obtained by journalists and the Israeli police concerning rape, but has not been able to independently verify such allegations. And now get this is crazy. The commission has reviewed testimonies obtained by journalists and the Israeli police concerning rape, but has not been able to independently verify such allegations. Why not? So the UN has said, listen, we have been able to verify some cases of sexual violence, but we have not been able to verify these particular stories. Why? Due to lack of access to victims, witnesses, and crime sites, and the obstruction of its investigation by the Israeli authorities. And this is what I mean by Israel becoming more and more repressive. Israel told medical staff in its own country, do not talk to the UN. It even prohibited medical staff from talking to the United Nations. Well, why wouldn't you want the UN to talk about war crimes and atrocities done to Israelis? Why wouldn't you want more light shed upon atrocities done to Israelis? The answer to that is very simple. Because the Israelis don't like the UN. Because the UN will bring up both sides. The UN will say Hamas has done bad things, but let's also talk about what Israel has done. If the UN said we're just going to talk about Hamas, then Israel probably would work with the UN. But Israel doesn't. And that's the problem. This is why people don't like the idea of seeing both sides of the story, both sides of the coin. In every war, every atrocity, there's two sides. There is the full spectrum of the story, right? There is the totality of the story, not just part of the story, the totality of the story. We have to look at all the sides. Why do we have to look at all the sides? Let's talk about that for a moment. Why do we have to talk about all the sides? Let's look at it this way. Let's look at the most sensitive issue ever discussed when it comes to talking about history. Let's look at the Holocaust. The Holocaust was... I have to be very careful with my words. The Nazis presented arguments by which to justify the genocide of the Jewish people. One of the arguments was what? A lot of the Jewish people are involved in communism. The Bolsheviks, a lot of the Bolsheviks are Jewish. The Bolsheviks have killed millions of people. It's a murderous regime. We have to put an end to it. They're right next door. We have to put an end to it. Now, if you were alive in the 1930s and in the 1940s, you would be saying, hoorah, absolutely. Because why? Because you would be hearing about all the atrocities committed by the Bolsheviks. And then Germany would be saying, look, they are communists in Germany, and they were communists in Germany, and they're trying to force Germany into becoming a satellite state of the Soviet Union. We have to put an end to this. We have to go to war. And a lot of people, if a lot of people alive today would have, if they were alive in those days, they would be saying, hoorah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so a lot of people would have fallen for the pretexts provided by the Nazis. That's the reality. Now, why is it important to know this? It's important to know this because genocides are always justified by particular facts. And so if you believe this idea, this typical narrative, that people just wanted to kill the Jews because they woke up in the morning and said they wanted to kill the Jews, you would be wrong. That's not people. Listen, people in the 1920s, a lot of people in the 1920s had no issue with the Jews in Germany. They didn't have issues with the Jews. But what happened was years and years of ideological conditioning manipulated the people into believing that it was a good thing, that the Nazis were the good guys. And the problem with believing in this narrative that, well, people just wanted to kill the Jews because they woke up in the morning and decided to kill the Jews, and that they weren't given pretexts. The problem with this way of thinking is that it leaves you open to falling for the very manipulation that the Nazis fell for, the very manipulation that the German people fell for. Because the Germans were given a set of facts that led them to believe that the Nazis were the good guys. They didn't wake up in the morning and say, oh, the Nazis are great, Heil Hitler. Just like today, people who believe in genocide and eugenics, what do they tell you? They don't tell you to seek Heil. They don't tell you, oh, let's put people in camps and kill them. No, what they do is they give you a set of facts. And those facts can be very persuasive. They give you a set of facts intermixed with arguments, a form of argumentation. And those facts intermixed with argumentation can be very, very persuasive and seductive. And if someone comes to you and says, don't listen to these people, sure, they're giving you facts, but they're giving you those facts for evil intentions. What would you, and then if you were told this is what the Nazis did, don't fall for the same trap that the German people fell for, what would you say? You would say, no, the German people were insane, and the Nazis were insane, and Hitler was insane, and there was no set of facts that they had. They were just madmen. These people I'm following, they're not madmen. They're giving me facts, and I have to follow the facts. Do you see what I'm saying here? That's why it's so dangerous to believe this narrative that people just followed the Nazis out of nowhere. That's not true. People followed the Nazis because there were certain realities that scared them into following the Nazis. There was all of the economic misery, but at the same time there was the Soviet Union. There were Bolshevik atrocities. There were communist revolutionaries in Germany. There were all these things that were happening that riled up the German people to think Hitler is our guy. And if you were alive in the 1920s, if you were alive in the early 30s, you would probably be saying the same thing. I could have been saying the same thing if I were alive in those days. But because we understand that evil ideologues justify their evils by presenting to you pretexts and facts, because we understand this, then we prevent ourselves from being susceptible to that sort of destructive manipulation. Because then we could say, wait a second, yes, they're presenting to us facts, but so do the Nazis. We understand this. They're presenting us facts for evil intentions. And those are the most evilest people, in my opinion. The most evilest people are not the people who come to you and say, I'm evil. The most evilest people are the ones who come out and they give you facts, and they tell you that they have good intentions when they really don't. Those are the evilest people in the world. It's the guy who goes to a child and says, oh, I have some candy for you. And they act so nice, and before you know it, the kid is kidnapped. Those are the most evilest people in the world. They're the wickedest people. The people that come to you with good attire. The people that come to you with this facade of righteousness. Those are the people that murdered Christ. They had a facade of righteousness, a facade of holiness. They had this mask of holiness when they were really just satanic. It's like the Catholic priest who says, "Oh, I'm the Catholic priest, and I am a representative of God, and I'm going to come to your house and meet your parents, and we're going to talk about religion. And, oh, Father O'Donnell, you're so wonderful. And he's so great. Such a family man. Such a holy man. Man of God. A man of the Bible. But he's a man of Satan. And he wants to prey on your son. And don't tell me that this doesn't happen. It happens. It's happened many times. Those are the evilest people in the world. Those types of people. And the most dangerous thing is that those are the people who gain the most minds. Those are the people who grab the most attention. Why? Because they're so good at presenting themselves as righteous and justified, and they get the biggest crowds because they're so righteous. They're so adamant about doing the right thing. At least they present themselves as such. But if you give them power, they will show themselves. And this is why it is so, so important to understand that evil and genocide, they're always justified by facts. Israel right now is committing war crimes. And they've done war crimes. And if you bring this up, they're going to say, well, we are at a war. We're in a war. We're fighting Hamas. We have to do this. See what Hamas has done? They give you facts. But a lot of the Israelis, they have evil intentions. Evil intentions. They want to advance settlements. They want to take land so they can build settlements. They want to Judaize Gaza. They don't really see civilians in Gaza as humans. They've dehumanized people. I'm not saying all of them are this way, obviously not, but they are Israelis who have come out and said this, that the way that the military is conducting itself is in a way that says you can just kill whoever you want. But anyway, let's go back to October the 7th. 40 Israeli children, at least 23 boys and 15 girls, including one under the age of 2 years and 10 years. 40 Israeli children and at least 23 boys and 15 girls, including one under the age of 2 years and 10 under the age of 10 years, were killed, and hundreds more were wounded on October the 7th. I think there's a mistake there. 20 children lost. So this is very sad here. 20 children lost both their parents, and 96 children lost one parent. 20 children lost both their parents, and 96 children lost one parent. That's absolutely evil. In one case, 3 siblings from Kfar Aza witnessed the killing of their parents. That's horrible. That's so horrible, guys. One of the siblings, a 3-year-old girl, was then abducted to Gaza, while her brother and sister spent 14 hours hiding in a wardrobe, waiting to be rescued. The commission found that children were instrumentalized by members of the military wing of Hamas and other arms groups with the intent of achieving specific political or strategic gains. In one case investigated by the commission, militants used a 17-year-old... Now, this is really evil here. Militants used a 17-year-old boy in Kibbutz Nahel Oz to lure his neighbors to open their homes, filmed and live-streamed his ordeal. He was later killed while his 15 and 8-year-old stepsisters were abducted in Gaza. In Holit, 2 siblings aged 4 and 4 months, respectively, witnessed the murder of their mother. I hate this. They were then taken and held by a Hamas militant and filmed, while the militant said, "Look at the mercy in our hearts. Here are the children. We did not kill them." Oh my God. This is so evil, guys. It is. It's just evil. Absolutely evil. And this is what Hamas did. And this is why, you can understand why a lot of Israelis are upset. You can see why a lot of Israelis are upset. Let's go back here. Hold on. The commission found that ISF's response to the attack was initially significantly delayed and in many places totally inadequate. So here's where the they say that these were mistakes by the Israeli government. I do not believe that. So I'm going to read to you this, but just to sum it up here, it basically says that the Israelis didn't really respond quick enough, and that's an understatement. They took hours to really respond seriously, and I just do not believe that it's a mistake. I think Israel knew what was happening. They knew what was going to happen. They allowed it to happen so that they could have the justification to do what they're doing now. I refuse to believe that Israel didn't know what was going to happen. And I refuse to believe that this is all just a big mistake. I just don't believe it. This is Israel. This is the country that talks about security all the time. This is the country that talks about, we got to fight the terrorists. And they allowed this thing to happen. And then when it was happening, it says here that the Israeli security forces' response to the attack was initially significantly delayed and in many cases totally inadequate. Small teams of ISF ground forces appeared in several locations during the morning, but they were slow to arrive, insufficient in numbers, and lacked coordination with a centralized command and with each other. Oh, so this is the big bad Israel. This is the Israel that's so high tech and they can't even respond fast enough to their people being butchered. Several ISF tanks were active that day at border locations and in the civilian villages, including one that provided protective cover for civilians in hiding, and several ISF members defending a position at the Nova Festival site. In many kibbutzim, local rapid deployment security teams fought against the attackers with very little or no external reinforcement. So the local security in the kibbutzes were doing all the fighting, and where was Israel to help their people? It just doesn't make sense. The Commission is aware of allegations that ISF used the Hannibal Directive to prevent the capture of Israeli civilians and their transfer to Gaza, even at the cost of killing them. Such allegations were made in relation to ISF actions in the Nova site, including reports of ISF attack helicopters shooting at Israeli civilians. So not only did they take forever to come, when they did come, they just were butchering their own people. It's insane. Such allegations were made in relation to ISF actions, including reports of ISF attack helicopters shooting at Israeli civilian cars, resulting in the killing of Israelis. The Commission confirmed the presence of at least 8 attack helicopters in various locations on October 7, but it could not confirm that they shot at civilians or civilian cars, including in the area of the festival. The Commission documented one statement by an ISF tank crew confirming that the crew had applied the Hannibal Directive by shooting at a vehicle which they suspected was transporting abducted ISF soldiers. So they said, yeah, we think there's soldiers in there. Just kill them all. Just kill them. The Commission also verified information indicating that in at least 2 other cases, listen, there are cases of people being taken hostage here in the United States. Cars will chase after them. Police officers will find them. They have hostage situations in the United States. Cops come, they kill the hostage takers. They don't say, well, we'll just blow it up, guys. The Commission also verified information indicating that in at least 2 other cases, ISF had likely applied the Hannibal Directive, resulting in the killing of up to 14 Israeli civilians. There you go. One woman was killed by ISF helicopter fire while being abducted from near Oz. They just killed this woman. The Hamas is taking her. Just kill them. In another case, the Commission found that Israeli tank fire killed some or all of the 13 civilian hostages held in houses in Be'eri. In another example, it's unreal, absolutely unreal. In another example, Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant said Gaza will never return to be. Okay, so now let's talk about Israel, right? So now let's talk about what Israel has done. We're going to get into this here. In another example, Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant said Gaza will never return to be what it was. So the Israelis made it very clear that they were going to destroy Gaza. I have released all restraints. We use everything, so no restraints. Given information suggesting relatively low numbers of Hamas militants in proportion to the wider civilian population, And given Israel's repeated assertion that militants are embedded within the civilian population, the Commission considers these statements indicate that the Israeli government has given ISF blanket authorization to target civilian locations widely and indiscriminately in the Gaza Strip. So there you go. This is where it begins, the massacres of the Gazans. The Commission investigated several large-scale attacks on civilian targets in the Gaza Strip, which are indicative of the use of this doctrine, and documented tens of other attacks, including on aid organizations, convoys, and refugee sites. In many of these cases, the Commission could not identify military targets as the focus of the attacks. Even when military targets were allegedly present, attacks lacked distinction, proportionality, and precautions, resulting in thousands killed and injured and widespread destruction of entire neighborhoods, including in Jabalia, Al-Rimal, Al-Yarmouk, and Al-Maghazi. Additionally, the Commission investigated cases in which ISF ground forces killed civilians who posed no threat, including holding white flags. Yes, we've seen the videos. The grandmother holding her grandson with a white flag, the Israeli sniper. Kill her as if it's sport. We've seen video of this. In one incident, 2 civilian women were shot while seeking refuge at a church. There you go. They don't care. These people, listen, a lot of these people in Israel, a lot of these people hate Christians. They don't give a damn. They see a woman in a church. They don't give it. They hate them even more than they do Muslims. They hate Christians more than they hate Muslims. That's the fact. I don't care what anyone. Oh no, they love Christians. Yeah, they love Christians who give them money. All right, they don't love Christians who are just going to church in Israel. They don't want to see that. With Islam, you see the Orthodox Jews in Israel. They say, well, Islam believes in one God. Christians believe in 3 gods as one, so they're pagans. This is how they see things. In one incident, 2 civilian women were shot while seeking refuge at a church and the premises shelled. So they not only shot the 2 women, they shelled the church. In another incident from November, ISF soldiers filmed the aftermath of the killing of a man in El Shati refugee camp who they admit was unarmed when killed. So they always say, oh, they don't attack civilians intentionally. They kill them unintentionally because terrorists are everywhere. So they're going to just shoot everything because the terrorists are everywhere. Here we have a story of an old man in his 70s who's in his apartment, in his room. They go into his room. He does this. He says, I'm innocent. I'm not here to kill nobody. And the Israelis not only kill him, but they laugh about it after they kill him. Don't believe me? Oh, it's the UN. I'm not going to trust the UN. Moron, the UN also talks about atrocities done by the Gazans. Are you not going to trust that also? So when see, this is the thing. I don't trust the UN. So when the UN talks about Gazans murdering Israelis, are you also going to reject that because you don't trust the UN? Oh, you'll accept that part. Oh, because it fits your narrative. Oh, because you have a double standard. Okay. That's why I don't waste my time talking to most people, because that's how most people are. Most people are just people who want to do double standards. Let me show you guys a video of the Israeli soldiers, everyone, boasting about how they murder an elderly man. Let's give this a listen. Let's do this. Let's give this a listen. Watch later. No, I did it for my... I put it in my stream. Here it is, guys. Hopefully they don't give me a copyright strike for this one. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you guys this video. I'm turning my music off for 1 second. Music screen. No. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. 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 Here are these Israeli soldiers, and they're just, oh yeah, we shot him. It was so amazing, man. We killed him. We killed him, guys. so much fun while the evangelicals praise us as God's people and send us lots of money. And Texas people in Texas are talking about killing cows for the Temple Mount. We just killed this old man. It was so fun. Let's give this a listen, everybody.
An Israeli soldier recounting his actions during a raid.
Sorry. The volume was off. Hold on. I got it back up. Let's watch it.
An Israeli soldier recounting his actions during a raid in Gaza City. Body cam video from last November sparked widespread outrage. It revealed the soldier discussing how he repeatedly shot an elderly.
Body. There's the evidence. Body right there. Okay.
Palestinian man.
So
the subtitles are a little bit fast. Let's listen to this part again here.
It revealed the soldier discussing how he repeatedly shot an elderly Palestinian man.
So the guy says, "What happened?" He says, "Well," you could tell there's a lot of arrogance in his voice, a lot of hubris there. "We got in, we opened fire, we saw someone get up, and then he bent down. He came to my direction and did this to me." Means don't kill me. 4 bullets. 14 degrees, brother. Ha! Yeah. Killed that old man. Showed him. That's right. Killed that terrorist. Oh, and believe me, these soldiers, they wouldn't mind flying down to Texas and seeing a bunch of glossy-eyed Christians clapping their hands, going, "Oh, he's an Israeli soldier. He fought the terrorists." And this guy would love to say, "We went into the room and Shlomo saw the man. He was a terrorist. He was a terrorist, I tell you. He was a terrorist. We killed him." Now, why did we kill him? Did we kill him because we hate human life? No, we are taught in the Bible. We believe in the Bible like you believe in the Bible. We believe in the Bible that to respect human life. Sound like a Korean there. Because we believe in the Torah, we believe in the Talmud, which says to respect human life. We respect human life. Because a terrorist does not respect human life, we took him down. We kill evil to save evil. Oh, clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. Let's look at the real story, everybody. Rewind the tape. 14 degrees, brother. 4 bullets. Oh, yeah. Killed those damn terrorists. This reminds me so much of Iraq. I am being transported back to 2006 all over again. This is the Iraq War all over again. Yeah, we killed this man. Oh yeah, they're all terrorists anyway. I can do whatever I want. Let's look at this. Was he alone? Was he alone? Asked the soldier. And this soldier says, "I don't know." And watch the other soldier contradict them. They're not the best liars. "I don't know." Actually, he was alone. Maybe there are people. Actually, he says, maybe there are. The other soldier says, maybe there are people. There was only one person. He did only that to you? Now, the guy, maybe this guy asking the questions, maybe he has a conscience. Maybe he just doesn't feel right about this. And he says, wait, this is all he did to you? He just waved his hands? Yeah, he did this to me. No. In other words, the old man was gesturing, "No, don't kill me. Don't kill me." And he's a psychopath, this guy. What's the word? He soaks in joy in watching a man beg for his life. He's a sicko, this guy. He's a serial murderer. They're sickos, these people. They're sickos. That's what's. And you took him down? Great. Was he without weapons? Did he have something on him? I don't know. He hid under his bed. It was fantastic. Oh yeah, fist bump, guys. And then you see a video of them. You see a video of them 5 years from now, talking to the Knesset. "Oh, I have a PTSD. I have a PTSD. Oh, why don't the government give me more drugs? I need more drugs. I have a PTSD. I have trauma. I piss myself in the bed. It's the government's fault." Well, it kind of is the government's fault, but you killed that guy, and now your conscience is driving you insane. Your conscience, it's like that line from Morpheus when he tells Neo, it's like a splinter in your mind. You just can't get it out. That is what happens to your mind when you've done something Very horrendous. And the problem is they don't have a concept in their religion, in their culture. They don't have a concept of forgiveness, going to a priest, actually taking accountability. It's just there. We just did it. It's kind of lingering in your mind. Here we go. It's sad, guys. It really is sad. It really is. It's sickening. It's sickening. But this is what happens. This is what happens. Let me see if I can find the video. IDF soldier, PTSD. Is this the guy? Wait, there was one guy who was screaming that he what was it? What was it? A soldier, I can't find it. He's basically saying that I see the man that I killed and he asked me, why did you kill me? Where was it? I can't find it. You can never find the damn thing. And then you had this son of Hamas guy. You had the son of Hamas guy. I don't care. I don't care. I kill. If it's 1 billion people, I kill them to save a cow. I don't care. What, another psychopath. He's from Gaza, too. IDF soldiers screaming. How do I find that video? I can never... Oh, this is it. I found it. Let me see if I can... Hold on. It's on Facebook, though, but it doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. Remember this one? Did you guys ever see this video? This is crazy. Here, I'll play this one for you guys. This guy feels remorse for killing people.
בשבילכם בידיים האלה, אתם אומרים מכבים דם על הידיים? אני הרגתי בשבילכם יותר מ-40 איש!
So what does he say?
רצחתי!
The subtitles are very fast. I was also a Golani fighter. Why don't you treat me?
אתם לא מטפלים בי!
I killed for you with these hands.
אני הרגתי בשבילכם בידיים האלה, אתם
You say terrorists with blood on their hands.
אומרים מכבים דם על הידיים!
I killed more than 40 people for you.
אני הרגתי בשבילכם יותר מ-40 איש!
I murdered.
רצחתי!
So what are you doing here today?
אז מה אתם פה היום? 9 שנים אין לי
It's been 9 years and I haven't received even 1% disability status.
אחוז אחד! אמא
Does
שלי
my
צריכה
mother need to pay everything for me?
לשלם לי ככל! 10,000 שקלים! 100,000 שקלים! מה נראה לכם? פה ככה זה עומד! אמא שלי...
My mother paid the hospital bills for my Gaza injury, etc. Hold on.
אימא לי את הבית חולים של הפציעה שלי בעזה! אתם תבעתם את
You
אמא
sued my mother.
שלי! אין לי דוח פציעה! מי זאת הקצינת נפגעים שלי? מי זאת? יום אחרי... מצאתי את עצמי מחוץ לגולני! למאזי! בא למאזי, מספר ככה הביא התלהמות, מרגמות,
Mortars,
RPG!
RPGs, suicide bombers, people falling apart.
מתאבדים, מתפוררים! מה אומרים לי?
What do they tell me? You got injured in Golan.
לגולני, נשמה, לך לגולני! מה אתה רוצה פה? תתקדם, עזוב אותנו! מביאים אותי לעוד יחידה ולעוד יחידה ולעוד יחידה, מתזזים אותי בצבא ואף אחד לא לוקח אחריות, אף אחד לא מטפל בי! ואני מתלונן! אני צועק, אני משתין בלילה!
He says, I pee at night from post-trauma.
פוסט-טראומה!
He comes to me and says, why did you kill me? You see, I'm telling you, these soldiers who do things like this, they think it's cool. And maybe they're so sick that they'll never feel bad. Maybe. But maybe some of them will end up like this guy. And they'll say, man, I did something wrong. And they don't know how to deal with it.
הוא בא אליי ואומר לי, למה הרגת אותי?
Why did you kill me?
למה הרגת אותי? אתה יכול
Can
להסתכל
you function the day after something like this?
ככה ביום אחרי שיש לך ימים כאלה? אתה
Can
יכול
you
לאכול?
see? Can you eat? Can you at all succeed in life?
אתה יכול בכלל להצליח בחיים?
My husband asked me for...
Oh, shut up. Anyway. I think PTSD and anxiety has to do with distance from God. Yep, I agree. God-given conscience, all of us have it. The ones that burned it are lost and possibly damned. Well, they are damned. I mean, if you burn your conscience, you're damned because you're not going to feel bad about anything. You don't care. Let's go back to reading the notes. I have my my video game music playing in the back. Yeah, let's go back to the notes. So here we are. The conscience convicts without confession. There is no absolution. That's right. That's right. And the thing is that in their religion, they don't have a concept of that, like going to God for forgiveness or going to a priest. I think they do have a concept of going to God for forgiveness. Yeah, they do. They do. But yeah, I think that without Christ, there isn't really no true forgiveness. So it says here, they admit was unarmed when killed. On November 12th in Al Ramal neighborhood, a Palestinian woman was shot by a sniper while evacuating and holding the hand of her grandson who was waving a white flag. And this is also on video, and I've showed this numerous times on this stream. On November 15th, ISF shot and killed 3 Israeli hostages, one of whom was holding a white flag. So they're so trigger happy they kill their own hostages. ISF admitted in an investigation into this incident that it resulted from a lack of adherence to the rules of engagement. Yeah, that's an understatement. The commission considers that this and other incidents clearly indicate the permissive practice of shooting to kill without first ascertaining who the targets are and whether they pose a threat, meaning they don't give a damn. The commission documented harassment and specific attacks on evacuees, including forcing Palestinians of all ages and genders at gunpoint to strip during evacuation processes and walk for prolonged periods without clothes. This is just a form of humiliation. That's all this is. It's exactly what the Americans did in Abu Ghraib. They made people strip naked and all this stuff. Where did you find the video of the IDF soldier? Here, I'll send you the link. I think if you just type in soldier, IDF soldier PTSD, but I'll send you the link. It's on Facebook. Here it is. I'm back to see you still alive. Yeah, I'm still here, buddy. We don't stop. Here's the link. We don't stop. We keep on going. Don't matter if there's 5 views, 10 views. Don't matter if we get disconnected. The show must go on. I prepared for this damn stream, and so here we are. We got to keep on going. These cases indicate the ISF... Okay, I already read this. So, I didn't read this. These cases indicate that ISF intentionally inflicted much of the hardship experienced during this process. Some of the evacuation processes were also hindered by Hamas threats and attacks against those wanting to leave. As evacuations were underway, ISF continued attacking designated safe zones, including Rafah and Khan Yunis. These attacks resulted in casualties, including deaths of civilians not taking any direct part in the hostilities. So basically, they tell the Gazans to go somewhere, and then when they go somewhere, they kill them when they're there. The commission identified a surge of settler attacks, so this is in the West Bank, surge of settler attacks on Palestinian communities immediately after October the 7th. Several developments may have contributed to this, including enlisting thousands of settlers. This is where things get crazy. Enlisting thousands of settlers in ISF reserve duty, arming and mobilizing settlers for regular military service in specialized battalions based in the West Bank. So they're taking thousands of these settler fanatics and putting them in the military and stationing them in the West Bank. And that's why you see, for example, videos of settlers burning people's cars, and the soldiers are there and no one gives a damn. That's why you read a story of a Jewish journalist filming the settlers attacking people's property, and the settlers beat this man because he was taking photos or taking film of them. And he said in an interview The soldiers did not help me because the attackers were the soldiers. The settlers were the soldiers. And this is what's happening right now. They're putting the fanatics in the West Bank. You have the Palestinian gangsters who are arming themselves with rocket launchers and bombs, and they got machine guns and all sorts of stuff. Then on the other side, you have the settlers who are absolute fanatics. And then you have more and more people getting armed, Israelis getting armed. Guys, this is a civil war. What we're seeing right now is the pre-stages of a civil war. Jews killing Jews, Jews killing Arabs, Arabs killing Jews, the whole thing. See, arming additional quasi-military militias and settlements and easing gun license registration regulations by Minister of National Security Itamar Ben-Gvir. The commission found that on November 24th, 2023, members of a Palestinian armed group killed and desecrated the bodies of two persons who they suspected had collaborated with the Israeli security forces in Tulkarm in the West Bank. The bodies of the two victims were hung on metal structures in front of cheering and filming crowds, and this is another evil of the Palestinians. One victim was stripped and placed in a dumpster, likely after the public hanging. One victim described to the commission his humiliation. One victim, so this is a Palestinian man, described how he was humiliated by the IDF during the evacuation of a residential area in Beit Lahia in early December. And it goes on to say, he was in his home when soldiers entered the area and ordered people to evacuate. During the course of the evacuation, men and boys were forced to undress in front of family members and ordered to kneel. The victim's wife and children witnessed his undressing before they evacuated. The man expressed the humiliation he felt being exposed like that in public. He and about 50 other men were ordered to walk in their undergarments, barefoot, to the end of the street where they were forced to kneel with about 250 other men and boys wearing only underwear. This information was corroborated by digital evidence. The interviewee described how a female Israeli soldier ordered two teenage boys who had been stripped to their underwear to dance and recorded a video of them while she was laughing. So this is, again, this is the sadism, the sickness. And I could show you guys more stuff. Let me see if I can find more stuff here. There was a story from the... Oh, gosh. Now I can't find it. There's a story from the UN report. See if I can find it. Oh, here it is. I found it. And this is, of course, this is not the right one. Is this the right one? Okay, this is the right one. Let me show you guys one part here. So check this out here. They use humiliation because they know that the culture... They know that the culture of the Middle East is very sensitive to nudity. And that's why the Americans did it in Abu Ghraib. That's why they got naked men and forced them to be stacked one on top of another. It is a form of physical and psychological torture. But look what it says here. It says here, another victim described to the commission how he, together with his family and other displaced persons, was subjected to mistreatment, abuse, and forced public nudity in early November 2023 on Salah al-Din Street during evacuations. The victim described a military presence along the street with many tanks and soldiers, including snipers positioned on buildings at a makeshift checkpoint. Women, men, girls, and boys were all asked to undress at gunpoint, create a bowl with their clothes, and throw their clothes to the ISF. They were told to hold their identity documents high in the air and continue walking while undressed. This is all humiliation. ISF said that anyone who did not follow orders would be shot. The men were completely naked. This is like something you would read out of the 1930s. The men were completely naked while walking, and the women were in their underwear. The victim was asked by a soldier to step aside and was forced to remain naked during an interrogation by 3 soldiers that lasted about 30 minutes. During the interrogation, he was slapped in his face and received threats to his life. They ordered all of us, men and women, to take off our clothes and to continue walking, ordering us to only look forward. I was walking naked between the tanks, not even wearing underwear. An Israeli soldier spit in my face. I forced myself not to react as I knew they would break every bone in my body if I did. And I'm going to read the rest of this stuff, but that's what I got so far. It's pretty horrendous, guys, but this is the reality, and it's only going to get worse. And the thing is that what's going to happen in the future is that other countries are going to attack Israel, and they're going to say, you did this sort of stuff to the Palestinians, now we're going to do worse to you guys, or we're going to butcher you just like you butchered the Palestinians. And what we are witnessing currently, everyone, what we are witnessing is the path to the future Holocaust being paved. Just like in the past, you could read about Bolshevik atrocities being done. And the Nazis said, look at what the Jews are doing in the Soviet Union. We have to put an end to this evil because they're going to do the same thing to us. This is what the Nazis were saying. And today, you have people saying, look at what the Jews are doing. Hitler was right. So you're seeing the path to the next Holocaust of the Jewish people being paved. That's what we're seeing. Anyway, guys, I've been streaming for like 5 or 6 hours already. So about 5 hours, so I am good to go. We had a lot of fun today. We had a few bumps on the road because of bad connection, but also because of that copyright violation, which was insane. But anyway, this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys learned something. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good weekend. God bless. And you guys just heard some Fia